Yo guys, so what's up? Today we're gonna be talking about Amazon automation, what it is. Let's just explain all of it because I still feel like a lot of people are confused because they get a ton of messages and emails asking what's automation, how does it work? You know, what can you expect, all these things. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, so let's go ahead, let's break it down, let's talk about it. Let's go.
So what's up guys, this is Roughneck Actual and you have reached the Roughneck's Ecom channel. If you want to learn how to make money online or offline, then you need to be right here. I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller. I'm also an honorably discharged Air Force veteran. Graduated from Penn State and started a career as a software engineer and leveraged that to build my businesses. If you guys have any questions on how to make money, you're gonna find all your answers right here, so stay tuned.
Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be talking about Amazon automation, what it is. Let's just explain all of it, okay? So the basic premise of Amazon automation is just account management, okay? We just have a really weird term for it, but whatever. It's account management. That is it, that's all. Okay, so an automation provider like myself or some of my friends, we manage your account. You know, generally we'll do all the listing, we do all the item selection, we do all the customer service and returns and everything else, okay? Now, the services are gonna vary depending on the methods that are used, okay? So for me, I drop ship for my clients. There's other services that will do wholesale FBA or private label FBA. If you guys do not know what those are, you should definitely check those out because there's a lot of information out there about it. You know, I have plenty of stuff on the channel about wholesale and private label as well. And then there's other people that do a form of all three. I don't feel that it works near as well because they're not dedicated to just one thing. Each one of these has benefits and they have detractors, and we're gonna talk about those, whether you decide to go with like private label FBA, wholesale drop shipping, retail drop shipping, whatever. There's gonna be benefits, there's gonna be negatives as well. We're gonna break them down, let's go ahead and talk about them. We'll probably start first with wholesale FBA, so let's go. All right guys, so let's talk about wholesale FBA, when it comes to automation. So wholesale, the margins are generally gonna be higher just because that's the way things work. You're getting things in bulk as a slight discount from a wholesaler, from a wholesale distributor, and then you're gonna be shipping those into Amazon and keeping stock there. That's what FBA is, fulfillment by Amazon. That's how you get prime shipping. In some cases, you can drop ship and get merchant fulfilled prime, but that's a whole different story. So when it comes to the wholesale method, you generally have to have more money, you have to have more capital because you might have to do what's called a buy-in with certain wholesale suppliers. Some of them might charge $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for you to buy in. So you essentially have to buy that much inventory in order to get a contract with them. You might also be able to tag along with some of your automation providers' contracts. So you might not have to do that buy-in, but just know that you may or may not be on a hook for that. Also, when it comes to wholesale FBA, you typically have to get enough volume to make it worthwhile. Okay, and what does that mean? You're gonna be buying a large amount of those items in order to get that discount. You're not gonna be buying one or two. You might actually be buying $5,000 to $15,000 worth of product in order to get that discount. Now, sometimes what happens when it comes to wholesale is things don't sell near as quickly, and sometimes when you drive the price down, so this is a whole nother thing, but what these automation providers are gonna use, well, hopefully what they use is a repricing software. Now, when you have that much inventory in Amazon, you're not gonna be able to compete with everyone when it comes to price all the time, okay? Not unless you're watching those items every single day, every single minute of every day, really. So you're gonna use a repricer, or the automation provider is gonna use what's called a repricer. Now, in some instances, those prices are gonna get too low for you to be competitive. So let's say that you got a discount and you bought those items for $24.99 shipped to Amazon, okay? $24.99 per unit shipped to Amazon. Let's say you're selling them for $44.99 and accounting for FBA fees and whatever else, size, weight, things like that, you might be making $5 per, okay? So you might have a $5 window. If it drops down to $39.99, you're no longer in profit. So when that happens, this is where wholesale is detrimental, not only the price to get in, but also when it comes time to move that inventory if it's below your minimum sell number, so that way you don't end up negative. So your minimum sell number should be where you're minimally profitable. Okay, so if it's $44.99, you're making $5, you drop down to $39.99, you're now at zero. Any lower than that, you're not making any money. So now you have this inventory sitting there and you're losing money every time that you're essentially selling an item. You would end up having to do what's called a pull request. And if these guys have a warehouse, it's not gonna matter much to you, but if they don't, those items are gonna come back to your house. Okay, so if you got 100 items in there, those items are gonna all come back to you, and then you're gonna end up having a very, very bad time. So you guys need to understand some of the things that go along with that. Not saying that it's necessarily bad. The margins are typically much higher, 15 to 30% in a lot of cases, sometimes even more. But you know what happens when you are no longer profitable and you have to pull those items, as well as inventory that doesn't sell. Since it's sitting in an Amazon warehouse, they are going to charge you. Okay, they are going to charge you for it sitting there and not selling. Okay, you'll have to pay a storage fee, and depending on how large those items are, the storage fee can range from a few cents up to a few dollars per item. So that could eat up your profit margin as well. So you guys need to be mindful of that. That's something that they need to talk about during their contract negotiations and so on. If you're talking to a sales team and they don't go over that stuff, chances are they're just trying to get their money and screw you guys over. So keep that in mind. The margins are higher, but there's a few things that go along with that. It's a little bit more set it and forget it, because Amazon's doing all the picking, packing, and listing for you. Your suppliers are the ones that are sending them directly to the warehouse, and you're kind of out of the loop, but just know that you do have to worry with small things like that, all right? So now let's talk about private label FBA and why that's probably the worst way to go, because with wholesale and drop shipping, you're selling other people's brands, but with private label, you're selling your own, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, okay? Let's talk about it right now. All right, guys, so let's talk about private label FBA automation, okay? And I say private label automation when realistically it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a scam, it's something that I feel that you should be aware of, okay? So when it comes to private label anything, especially on Amazon, it takes a lot of time and effort to get to the first page of Amazon. When you first start a private label product, you're gonna be on like the 7th or 8th page, if not even further back. Okay, if you guys check me out on social media, you'll see that I've been running my friend Frankie's, his private label product, which is a sneaker cleaner. Okay, we went from the 8th page all the way up to the first page in roughly 30 days, give or take. All right, and we had his first $10,000 month within like 35 to 40. Now, that's because he has a good product and a good market that is profitable. Okay, and that's with us running PPC, which is Amazon pay-per-click, and we're going to talk about what that is and why you have to run that. So when you start a private label brand, nobody knows that you exist. Okay, Amazon will accept that listing. You create the listing, you do all this work. You get a product from overseas or from a U.S. distributor. You get custom packaging, you send it into Amazon, you do all this work, right? Well, the problem comes in where you have to get that product ranked. So a lot of these services will do what's called giveaways. They'll essentially give away the product for like $1 or even less than that. So you're already losing money right off the rip. Okay, so let's say you spend $10,000 per item for the service, and then you just for them to list this one particular item, and you spend $10,000 in inventory. So their fee is $10,000 or more per FBA for a private label FBA item, and then you got to spend another $10,000 in inventory. So you're at $20,000. Well, let's say that you need to sell this item at $12 in order to make a profit of, let's say, $6, which will just be very generic here. $6. If you're giving that item away for $1 in order to get ranked, now you're already at a loss. You're at a major loss. Okay, you're losing a ton of money every time that you give one of those items away to get ranked. Also, you have to factor in Amazon pay-per-click. Okay, PPC. That's paid advertising on Amazon. So when you go to Amazon.com and you look and it says sponsored post or sponsored listing, that is pay-per-click. People are paying for that item to be seen. You might be spending anywhere from $5 to $100, $200, $300. It depends on how hot that item is and how many sales you're getting per day. So not only are these guys essentially doing giveaways in order to get you ranked, they're also spending a lot of money in PPC, which can eat things up if you don't have a very profitable item. So that's something you need to be aware of. And also, it's essentially they're trying to create a brand for you, but it doesn't necessarily work, because when you have a brand of your own, you want it to be your own. They're doing all this work and essentially creating a brand that they would want, and it's not necessarily transferable to the next person because you don't really have as much input. You're just kind of sitting back and chilling. When it comes to wholesale, wholesale and retail, it doesn't necessarily matter because you're selling other people's brands, so you don't have to do any of the work or any of the thought behind it. When you're doing a private label brand, if these guys are doing all the supposed work, you're just along for the ride, and it's your brand, which is kind of crappy. So keep that in mind. It can be more profitable because the margins can be anywhere between like 30 to 80%. maybe even more depending on if you get the item cheap enough, but you also need to be mindful that you're gonna get a lot of your costs eaten up within the first 4 to 8 months. You're typically not gonna be profitable with a private label product for 4 to 8 months, just because you have to get it ranked, unless you have a really hot item like Frankie in his statement shoe cleaner. If you do not, it's gonna take a little while and you're gonna lose a lot of money in the process, and you have to be willing to lose that money. All right, so now let's talk about what I do, and that's retail drop shipping, which may or may not be within Amazon terms of service and all that. All right, let's go. All right, guys, so let's talk about my favorite, which is what I do, and that is retail drop shipping. Now, when it comes to retail drop shipping, it takes a little bit to spin up. It takes roughly 90 to 120 days before your account is ready to go ahead and start drop shipping. And the reason being is Amazon does not like when you start drop shipping on a new account, because they don't have any type of trust with you. There's no faith that you can actually fulfill orders and so on. Now, when it comes to this type, you will get suspended a little bit more often than the other ones. And that is mainly due to the fact that you have to be beholden to the suppliers, okay? We're shipping directly from the supplier to the customer. If the suppliers are out of stock, or if they take longer to ship, or if they don't give valid tracking information, those things can hit your metrics and in turn cause a lot of headaches for, for your account, which can get you suspended. It's just something that you have to deal with, okay? Now, the sales are a little bit faster just because there's more propensity to go ahead and get those in, because you're getting the buy box for more items, because you have infinitely more listings than just the 1 or 2 that you have with private label, or maybe the dozen or so that you have with wholesale. With some of my clients, we have hundreds, okay, hundreds of listings. And that gives us the opportunity to do really big numbers, $100, $150, $200,000 in revenue each month. Now, the margins are gonna be lower when it comes to retail drop shipping, okay? You're looking at roughly 8 to 12%. It's not that high, but when you look at the volume that you're doing, it actually makes a lot of sense. Reason being is because if you sell, let's say $100,000 every month, you're looking anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000 in profit. Now, some months are gonna be lower, some months are gonna be higher. Yo, old girl behind me, she can sing, man. Somebody need to give her a deal. Somebody give old girl a deal for real. Now, let's get back to the whole drop shipping thing. Now, you guys may be wondering why you would want to take the risk when it comes to suspensions, right? Oh, I don't want to get suspended, that's terrible. And it is, because your account's going to be down for a little while and you're not going to be able to make any money. But that happens with any type of situation. Now, with wholesale, if you get suspended and you're not unsuspended in a timely fashion, all that inventory that you have sitting there, all that FBA inventory will get destroyed, or you have to do what's called a pull order and get it sent back to you. Like I said, if your automation provider does not have a warehouse, it's gonna come back to your address, or it's gonna go to an address of your choosing that is listed on your account. Same with private label. So with drop shipping, you don't have to worry about that because there's no physical inventory in there. The inventory is going directly from the supplier to the customer. Simple as that. So hopefully that fills you in on how everything works and what you can expect. If you guys have any questions, make sure you go ahead, ask below in the comment section. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. All those links are right in the description. So with that being said, man, be safe, be smart. Hopefully Amazon automation is something that you guys are looking into. If it is, check me out. Me and my team, we can answer all your questions, and maybe we'll do some business together. If not, hey, no harm, no foul. All right, catch you guys in the next one.